What's happening, everybody? I am working on a video for all y'all, and I stopped and I thought, you know what? Today has been a day of intense download, and it's been an incredible day. And generally, I would say it's been a heavy day, but it has not been a heavy day. It has been enlightening and wonderful. But I want to share a story with you. So expect to spend some time with me here today. And those of you who are spending time with me, who are staying to invest attention into what I have to share with you, I want you to know that what I'm sharing with you will assist you to evolve, and you will learn things from me that you have never heard anyone else speak. So I'm just going to get into it, and please like and subscribe. That way I can continue to invest my attention into you, and I can share with you the things that I receive that you, I promise, have never heard from anyone else come out their mouth, that will assist you to change your life in ways you never thought possible. Now, you've heard that many times, but I'm going to get into it because this isn't about talk. This is about flow. I'm going to begin my story. The year is, oh Lord, 2018. And I had been sick for a while, and I thought it was just the flu. And for a week and a half, I laid in my bed and just laid there, zoned out, watching things on Netflix. Prime. Sick, real sick. Well, eventually my daughter comes up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Now, y'all, stay with me. This is going to be lengthy, but I promise you what you will receive from staying with me from now to the end is intended to help you evolve. I am here only for you. I am here to invest my attention into you. So I will continue. I was sick. My daughter came up to my room and said, "You need to go to the hospital." Hello. I took a shower and I was just freezing. And I went to the hospital, walked into the hospital. And when I got there, the emergency doctor took my blood and all the things they do. And he came into the room and he said to me, "I am so much." But he said to me, now this story begins in 2018. But he said to me, "Venetia, did you know that you have 3 pints of blood in your body? And did you know that you have a severe flu? You are severely sepsis. Your left lung is completely filled with fluid. I don't know how you walked into this hospital. You are an anomaly." At that moment, I died. I had an experience, and this experience was, I'm going to try to articulate it the best I can. I was in a hallway. Firstly, I was facing towards the other side of the veil. Now, I wasn't on the other side of the veil, but I could see it. It's like if you have saran wrap, right? And you're looking through the saran wrap. You know how you can see, but you can't, like everything is just kind of fuzzy. Well, this world was behind me. Like I could see myself in my mind's eye behind me in the hospital, but it was really dark and heavy and menacing. But I was in this hallway, and this hallway was like infinite to the north and the south, and there was so much energy, and it was so intense. It felt like wind, but it was like color. I could feel colors and vibrations, and my hair was like, it was like blowing in the wind, but it wasn't wind, it was vibration. And it was so high and so intense and so beautiful and so unusual. But I didn't know what I was doing. Where am I? What is this? And then I heard, you know that I have shared with you your whole life to make a choice, to pay attention, and serve your purpose. And you chose otherwise. Now you have a choice whether you want to cross the veil, or if you want to turn around and serve your purpose. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. And I've always known that I have a purpose ever since I was a child. But in that moment, I understood. And so I began to turn around, but the energy was so intense that I had to like fight, and it hurt. And I started weeping, and I was weeping, and I was weeping, and I was wet. It was like raining out of my eyes. And it was so intense that I felt like I was going to drown, and it started filling up with my tears. And I'm pushing, 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 and it hurts, and it hurts, and it hurts. And then finally, I wake up in the hospital, and the first thing I said to my doctor is, am I going to have to be admitted? Wow, yeah. The look on his face, and I'll never forget it, the look on his face was a look of just shock and unbelievability. And I don't even know if that's a word, unbelievability. It sounds good though. But he said, yes, Venetia, you're going to be admitted. He didn't tell me anything. He waited until I had made some traction. And once I started to gain some strength, he had come in and out several times. Now, I am so sick. I don't feel sick, though, is a thing. Like, I never felt as sick as I was. Like, it was crazy. I was like up, alert, talking. I mean, it sucked, right? I felt like, and I was uncomfortable, but it's crazy. But they had me in a room that was at the end of a corridor, and they had it like blocked off. And everyone who came into my room had to dress up in the hazmat. It was crazy. I felt like E.T. Crazy. So anyway, my doctor finally comes in after 11 days on my birthday. My birthday is 1/11. Just right quick. My birthday is 1/11, and I was born at 1:11 p.m. My name, Venetia Q of the U. You should look it up. So anyway, it comes on my birthday, January 11th, and he says to me, while he sits down, I have only come to talk with you. Okay, I'm listening. My doctor says to me, Venetia, do you remember asking me if you were going to be admitted into the hospital? And I said, I did. Yeah, I do. He said, do you remember anything before that? And I did. He had asked me if I knew that I was bleeding internally and that I had walked into the hospital with 3 pints of blood in my body. And he said, well, you died for 37 minutes. 37 minutes. And that is what you said when you woke up, is, am I going to be admitted? And I thought it was a dream. I mean, I remember having the experience, but I thought it was like a lucid dream, some like incredible moment I was having because I was so sick. And he asked me, did you experience anything while you passed away for 37 minutes? And while I'm hearing him relay this to me, I'm thinking whether or not I want to share yet, because I'm still processing the fact that I died for 37 minutes, let alone that I had an experience, right? Mama. And so I don't say anything. I tell my doctor I need to receive this myself before I can share anything with you. And he looked at me, he said, I want to tell you that not only should you not have been able to walk into the hospital with 3 pints of blood in your body, but you should have been nearly dead. And then I have never known anyone to die for 37 minutes and come back without any brain damage. And you ask, am I going to have to be admitted? So while you're thinking about everything I told you, apply that to whatever it is that has you here, because there is something grand that you have lived through this, because not only do you have one thing that could kill you, but you have 5. And in my chart, after I healed, I looked in my chart and it says expected a fatality. And then listed on all things, the flu, I had the influenza A and B, and then I was severely sepsis, and then I had pneumonia, and my lung was filled completely with fluid. They got 16 quarts of fluid out of my lung. But all of these listed right next to them, it says lived, 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 lived. Wow. Incredible. All right. I did. I'm alive. Okay, well, I'm going to go back now. I'm going to back up a little bit for you guys, and then we will recenter here in a minute. When I was 8 years old, now it's 7 o'clock at night. Now I'm 8 years old at 7 o'clock at night rolling around on my bike. The reason is because I was a latchkey kid, and my mom, she was young when she had me, so she was out partying and was like leaving me home for months at a time. It started with days and then weeks and then months. Well, there was this new church at the end, about 5 blocks down from my house, at the end of the street, and it was called Sunlight Ministries. Mama, you might even know about this church. You might even remember Sunlight Ministries. Well, I went in there. Thank you, Dick. I went to this church, and it is yellow and pink. Okay, I'm going into this church. Like, what is happening up in here at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night at 8 years old? Well, what I discovered is there's a children's church downstairs. For a year and a half, I attended this joint, and they never knew that I was coming alone. They found out, but anyway. I'm not sure how long it was I had been attending when this happened, but it'd been a while. And on this certain night, they were talking about spiritual gifts and going through the list of spiritual gifts. My ear needs to pop. And when they got to the speaking on the gift of faith, he said, his name was David Lockwood. He said, and then he said, there's the gift of faith, and then there is the gift of a natural faith. And that is the gift of faith that can move mountains. Now, I've really never focused my energy on moving mountains, because I don't have any mountains that I really care to move. But I'll tell you what, my faith is real. And the power of my faith being unnatural and perfect, my faith has always been perfect. I will say thank you for something and boom, it works out. Boom, it's done. Bada bing, bada boom. Well, at 8 years old, I received this gift. Well, I was always losing my keys. And my mother would tell me, you better stop losing your keys. Well, I lost my key this one time. And she said, if you lose your key again, and then you go to the office at the apartment and they charge me for letting you in, you're going to get in trouble. So if you lose your key again, if I don't come home, you're locked out. Period. Well, I lost my damn key. And this is the first time I put the boots of faith on and jumped on my bike and retraced everywhere I went. And man, I did that several times, and the entire time, the only thing I said is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. 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 Like over and over. And I knew I'd find it. Well, it wasn't anywhere I went. Well, I had a homegirl who lived right behind me, and at this point, I'm almost 10. So this has been about a year and a half. And so I give up, and I go to my homegirls, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna sleep over her house. Her mom always takes me in. Shoot, I'll go over there. Forget you. I finally roll up to her house. There's my key on the walkway up to her door. I hadn't even been over there. That is when I learned that my gift of unnatural faith is real, and it doesn't matter where I find whatever it is I'm looking for. It doesn't matter if it is floating in the sky. I'm going to find it because I believe I'm going to find it. I know I'm going to find it, and I'm gifted. Period. That's it. Well, that's a fantastic thing, and it has built a foundation for me. Well, then it built a relationship with Jesus. And I'm gonna tell you something. Jesus is my best friend. I'm not religious. I don't go to church. I have been hurt by churches more than anybody else, or people in churches by anybody else. I am spiritual. I believe that I am blessed. I have a spiritual team. Jesus is my best friend. I believe in the gods, the goddesses, and the power of everything that gives me the power that I need to choose to be the bigger picture. I am not a smaller version of anything. I am the big picture. We decide whether or not we acknowledge that. Moving on. Faith carried me through. My relationship with Jesus grew. And I knew that I had a purpose. And every year I got older and older and older. And I knew that I was going to grow into having to fulfill some destiny. And Jesus was always telling me and then like filling me with things. I'm just a kid, right? I'm just a kid, and I'm like, I just want to hang out. And what I'm doing is 4th grade, instead of going home to be alone, I'm going to the old folks' home to hang out with them because I ain't got nobody. And I made the most amazing bonded relationship with an old woman named Emma. And she thought I was her daughter. And that woman loved me. And I would go and I would wash her hair, braid her hair. And I would go and make her macaroni and cheese from my house and bring it, make some grilled cheese sandwiches. And she loved me very, very much. And that's what I did. And I was led to do these things. I was led to always extend what others need that they don't have. And then I'm fulfilled with also the gift of appreciation because people see that what comes through me is pure magic. It is just absolute. It's the juice. So, but as I grew, my focus was, I really like money. And so my focus was making money and loss of it, but my way. And always Jesus is in my ear telling me, what are you doing? You're off track. What are you doing? You need to pay attention. Hey, you have a purpose. What are you doing? And I ignored him. What a fool. Like, who does that? Okay. And I figured, I guess somebody human who isn't sure what kind of purpose it is and how heavy it's going to be on my shoulders and what I am supposed to do with that. And the security I have now that I've made on my own, I guess I'm going to stand instead of lay down in the graces of absolute glory and salvation and be the purpose and the excellence that I am. I'm only going to stand knee deep. But I was making a lot of money. Well, finally, at 29 years old, here's what happened. Jesus got sick and tired of telling me to pay attention. My mom had been sober for years and wanted nothing but my attention. And so my animosity kept me away from her. She was allowed to be present within my life. I had my fairy tale husband, and we had planned 2 daughters. Wonderful, wonderful family. I very, very blessed. And I allowed her to be a part of that, but to connect with me, never. Well, on December 3rd at 3:11 in the morning, I was woke up and God said to me, it is time for you to let go of all of that animosity. It is time for you to see your mother for who she is. And so in a blizzard, I strapped on my boots. I strapped on my boots of faith, and I got in my little Nissan Sentra, and made my way through the blizzard to her house. And I had a vision on my way there that when I got there, she was going to be standing at the door with her hand out the door, smoking a cigarette, and the dogs would be outside. Well, sure enough, that is exactly the scenario I discovered. And so when I got out of the car, I opened the gate, closed the gate. I trudged through the snow all the way long ass path to the door. I opened the door. She didn't know. What am I doing there? I didn't say anything. I wrapped my arms around her and in an embrace. I had never hugged my mom before, never in my life. This was the first time. I'm 29. No, I was 28. Excuse me, I was 28 years old. And as I stood there in this embrace, I felt such love and brokenness and desperation and joy and just love radiate from this woman. Very codependent, needed to be validated type of lady, needed to have a man type of woman, but just wanted to love and didn't realize she could have loved me. But in that moment, I loved her, and I poured all of this forgiveness into her. And then after a while, I released the embrace, and I looked at my mom in her eyes, and I gave her a kiss. I kissed my mother on the lips for the very first time in my life. And I forgave her. And for 3 months, I spent time with my mother. I laid my head in her lap. She plucked my eyebrows. My mother was a hairstylist. Now, I am half black and half Siciliana. So my grandmother is Siciliana, okay, and my father's mother, and his father is half Sicilian and half black, and so I am Sicilian and black. Well, anyway, she didn't know how to cut my hair. Never did. My hair is not white people hair, but I let her cut it anyway. And I experienced what it's like to have a mom, in a way, for 3 months. I would have her for 3 months, and she was the one who would kick off the burial of my entire family. Within the next year and a half, I would bury 13 people. It began with her. I experienced my mother, loved my mother, adored my mother, cared for my mother, and received the same for her for 3 months, and she was gone. The next month, I buried another immediate family member. It was burying a family member every month for an entire year. And then a 6 month gap, I would bury my fairy tale husband, my soulmate, my best friend, and then my hero, my father. Now, this story is important because you are going to come to understand how I got to where I am and why you would want to listen to anything I have to say. So after I buried my entire family, and it was just me, I had lost my friends because it was all very heavy, a lot to take, and then I began to change because it was a lot for me. I was having nightmares. I was waking up in my yard in fetal position. I was reliving, I was the one who found everyone. I was the one who experienced it all. I'm the one who paid for all 13 of the celebration of life ceremonies. I'm the one who hosted. I am the one who wrote or composed all of the obituaries. I'm a professional obituary composer. I went to the business of burying my family, and how I did that is I decided hell with this, and I started doing a bunch of cocaine. Oh yeah, baby. Now this happened 20 years ago, almost 21. But I decided that I could handle this if I stayed high. And I'll tell you what, that shit saved my life. It saved my life because it checked me out to the point to where I did not connect myself within the reality of really how fucked up all this shit was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so my father being the last to pass, the limo dropped me off at my home, and we had a beautiful home. I walked the beautiful windy path to my door, and we had this beautiful glass door and then a foyer, and then the other door that leaded into my beautiful home. And a gift I have that I've always been able to do is I can close my eyes and I can see. So I can close my eyes and I can walk around all day and see where I'm going. I'll do that with you guys one day so you can see. It's a trip. It is a trip. Even for me, it's a trip. But I decided that I am going to close my eyes as I enter my home before I walk into the second door. I'm going to close my eyes because I knew that once I opened my eyes, my reality was going to change for the rest of my life. Please hold on for a moment. Alexa, turn the love light all the way up. So as I walked into my house with my eyes closed, I sat down in the middle of my living room, And I could see my daddy coming out of the bathroom singing, "Here comes the man in black, Galaxy Defender." Oh, Lord. Now, my father was beautiful, and he was a man's man, a very powerful man. So you have to have that visual. My grandmother in the kitchen talking about, "Y'all making so much noise. Why can't you settle down? And why didn't you bring me enough tomatoes? Go get some tomatoes. Y'all never bring me enough tomatoes." My uncle's talking about the 69 GTO Judge that he had just bought me. He was refurbishing, and that's what he did. My husband and him was sitting on the floor talking about that. And my husband was working on his reel and his new rod, you know. He was an avid fisherman. He passed away fishing, as a matter of fact. The kids were running around playing, my aunts, my uncle, everyone was there, and everyone was doing something, having conversations. And I was in this state for quite some time, and then I realized I wasn't a part of it. I couldn't initiate being a part of it. And I tried. And so I finally removed myself from the party, and I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I realized that I've never been the type of person to get lonely. I really like my alone time. I enjoy it because I am meditation. I do meditate, but my life is meditation. I'm constantly receiving, and I enjoy myself, and I not only know myself, but I understand myself. So lonely isn't a thing. But in that moment, I knew I was more alone than I could ever even fathom to understand what it was. Because the church that I had been going to had promised to bring food and supply all these things and then bring my family thing. Not one person brought anything. Not one. My friends had dropped off because it was too much, and no one was there. It was just me. And I knew it was going to be that way. And this was all laid out in it was all a purpose. There's a reason. And in that moment, God said to me, "Are you going to listen now?" Wow. So I buried 13 people in a year and a half, buried one person a month for a year, and then 2 people within 6 months, my husband and my father. And the day my father died, and I'm sitting there and I open my eyes and God says, "Are you going to listen now?" Woo. Took a lot of, I went through and I came through a lot after that, because I had to, God took me through everything. And everywhere, my entire life, everything I have done, everywhere I've been. See, I come from cartel and places that are hidden, and things that are under in the dark, in the basements, in the deserts, and the things that people watch in movies. And so I've been to the darkest places on this planet, so you don't have to. And this channel, you follow me, and you will discover much of most that you have never even fathomed. Now, with that said, I knew that if I could go through all of what I needed to go through, lay out what I knew, pick it apart, pull it apart, pull it apart, invest my attention into the details, then I would come to understand, like a miracle, like the unearthing of everything we need to understand of what we know, I get to share with you. And so I knew that if I could do this, I would not only go through, but I would come through. And so, well, you know, when I ask people, if I ask you, hey, how you doing? And you say, I'm going through a lot right now. I want you to change that response to, I'm coming through a lot right now. Because I'll tell you what, everything we speak, everything we do is everything we have and everywhere we go. So if I ask you how you're doing and you say I'm going through a lot right now, you're going to stay going through a lot right now. But if you switch it to I'm coming through a lot right now, in that moment, you know that you are on your way. So that is something I have for you, a little tidbit, a little taste. So I have something I would like to read to you. After I buried my family, I'm a poet. I am also an author. I have written I've written 3 books that are completed that I will that I intend to, I'm going to self-publish. Yes, it's going to be great. This poem is titled Mind You, and no, I do not have it memorized. I don't have any of my poetry memorized, because when I write, I have no idea when I'm writing until I'm finished. This is titled Mind You. Oh, mind you, I've traveled far from a place I can recall, yet seems unattainable, unretainable. The thought of merely thinking to think such a journey leaves bold men the weaker and the super less the hero. So far back on roads traveled, while eyes masked tight shut, that the only way of recalling is to walk through the gut. The sour taste stains the roof of my mouth, the stench of death rotting. I am dead, let me out. 13 men buried, nice and tidy by my hand. I traveled afar from a far distant land. 5 years on this journey of furious need to find any way out of this sorrow, out of this drought. I hear life is calling, still my eyes masked, tight shut. Can't see where I'm going, headed nowhere. Keep forward, you've got this, myself says to me. Unmasked, eyes open by the moment in time. Clarity, moment after moment, they flood in. A good look around, behold, what do I see? Standing 50 feet, looking down upon me, the tree of life shadows an introductory glance. Well, hello, lovely lady. You are finally here. The family tree gave out an earth-shattering cheer. 13 you've buried, yes, this is true, but we are not dead. We have passed into you all our strength, wisdom, power, glory, and care to understand how to love you now possess. There was no mistake in whose voice speaks this bliss. My Father is who sits atop the tree. He comes to embrace me while looking into my eyes. He says, death is what you make it, while life is the same. Now the universe is called, take it firmly by the hand, as you are whisked away to a far distant land, where people are purple and dance all day long. Live life with a smile and dance from place to place. Enjoy your calling and the universal embrace. I wrote that in 2012. So the moral of this story is this. We are not promised tomorrow. Now, there is a whole lot going on right now in our world and with everyone in it. It seems like it is unreal. We really have to stop and check ourselves and sit for a moment in the reality and the authenticity of the fact that we have human meat out in the world, synthesized meat out in the world, 3D meat out in the world, people eating things they shouldn't be eating. Brat, brat. People, babies, on a constant pace. But here's the reality that I want you to focus on. You could wake up tomorrow and one of your family members passes away and kicks off the passing of everyone you know. And in the next year, you have buried everyone you know one time a month. You have buried one person once a month, and you are totally and completely alone. Let's focus on that point, shall we? Let's forget about everything else that's going on in the world, and let's focus about what could happen to you. Because that's my reality. That's what happened to me. And so what is important is what we do right now, right here, today, in this moment. Because if we don't focus upon what matters here, and all we're doing is listening to what's happening outside and what's going on in the world and what everyone else is doing, well, do you have time to pay attention to what you're doing? Now let me make something clear. You're a human being. Being is an action word. I want to ask you, how are you being? What type of human are you being? Huh? I have so much more for you, so much more for you. But for today, what I want to tell you is that that was the first time I died. And then everyone else died. And then again, I died last weekend. Yes, I did. I went to the emergency room because I got a shot from my doctor for a sinus infection. It was a steroid. I got home. I had an allergic reaction. My daughter took me to the hospital, and then they gave me 3 other medications that I was allergic to. The last medication they gave me, immediately from the tips of my toes, I began to freeze. My entire body went ice cold, and I started convulsing like that. And I was convulsing like that for 1 hour and 48 minutes, my daughter said. Well, during this time, my oxygen dropped to 38, and then 34, and then 32. And as I'm convulsing, I looked at my daughter and I said, you got to go get somebody. I'm dying. I'm going to die. Yeah. And she goes out and she is begging people. The last guy, she said, you need to come in and help my mom. He threw his hands up and he said, we are really busy right now. We'll get to her when we can. See, the problem was that at the nurse's station, they weren't getting a life alarm from my room that was telling them that my oxygen was going to kill me and my brain was going to die. And so I was left there. Okay, for almost 2 hours I was convulsing. Now this is all as foreign and strange to me as it is to you, and especially seeing me sitting here and wondering how in the world am I sitting here telling this story. It was last weekend when this happened, last Friday. finally, a nurse comes in and she's looking at my stats, and I am like still convulsing, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, help me, please help me. I need you to help me. I'm dying. And she looks at me and she says, but all your stats are fine. Your oxygen is really low, but I mean, you're sitting up, you're communicating, your lips aren't blue, your color's fine. And that might be all fine, but I'm convulsing, woman. And she says to me, well, maybe you're cold, or maybe you're having a panic attack. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I just, you know what? I am blessed. I am so blessed. I'm a miracle. I'm an anomaly. But this entire time, Jesus has me and my brain literally hovered above my body, watching me go through this. And I'm begging her to help me. And then all of a sudden I start convulsing so bad, I'm biting my tongue. And I said, now I'm biting, you know, and I'm like, it's crazy. It was crazy. Like I was like Exorcist, like that movie Exorcist. Finally, my regular nurse comes in. I didn't know who she was. He comes in and he's like, oh my God, what is happening here? Move. And I'm like, you got to help me. You have got to help me. I'm going to die. So he rushes out. He goes and gets the doctor. He immediately comes in with a medication. And it stops this convulsing that I'm going through for 2 hours. They finally give me oxygen. At this point, I'm at 32% oxygen. I shouldn't have even been conscious. I was near death. Yeah, that's dead. I mean, I'm dying. Same as the first time. 3 pints of blood, and I walk into the hospital. So, yeah, so that all happened. The moral of that story is Jesus said, you're still not listening. And now, right, Monday, I got my YouTube channel together, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I have grandchildren, and I still have things I can lose, and I'm not losing nothing else. And God wants my attention, and my purpose is massive, and that is why I'm here. I just want y'all to know I'm not here just to babble or I'm not here to share the news. I'm not here to give you the rundown of anything or everything else. I am here literally to impart into you gifts and presentations, and every letter that makes every word, that creates every sentence, that becomes a masterpiece of what I speak is for you. And so that is why I'm here. I am listening now, and I'm not going anywhere. So please subscribe, like, please give me in the algorithm, loop my videos if you would. But I have the most important messages to spill out. And if we really want to have to save our world, a piece of our world, then I need you to help me do that. And I'm going to tell you what, we all want to see someone come to our aid, but when someone comes, here I am, you cannot judge and decide for yourself, well, it can't be her. When I'm telling you, I am here for a great purpose, and I need your help to make that happen. Because if I'm going to be here every single day, I need y'all to be here with me, and I need y'all to help me to be able to do that. Now, I'll tell you what, invest attention into everything. Attention is like money. The more you invest, the more interest you receive, and you have all of mine. I care enough to come to understand how to love every detail of everything you need. Have a fantastic day, every single day. And to all of you who tuned in, to all of you who stayed with me, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and loop. And please share with your family and friends. I adore you. And I'll never lie to you. I'm out. See you soon. Mwah.